Hey guys! So, today we're going to answer a subscriber question, and the question in question is, Frederick, Java has started moving so quickly with the release of Java 9 and modules and all that good stuff, Java modules. How can I possibly keep up with all of these releases? So let's get into it. Now, I think this is an interesting one because I would say there's quite a lot of people who would make this argument for JavaScript, but this is actually the first time I've ever heard anybody talk about Java as being fast-paced and being something that's hard to keep up with feature-wise. But we're going to address it nonetheless. You see, in JavaScript land, this trend is very, very strong. And it is a very common term, you may have heard it, called JavaScript fatigue. And it comes from this exact thing, that there's so many things going on in that community and there are so many things happening all around you and you need to keep up with everything and so forth. Now, I will make the bold argument that that is not so. In JavaScript land, there are plenty of things that are being released, there are plenty of things that happen, but that does not mean that you need to know all of it. The hard part with JavaScript is that you have so many different things, and unless you really know your stuff, it's very hard for you to know what to bet your money on, or what to invest in and what not to invest in. And there's one more problem. And the first primary problem is that the ease of adoption and the culture around having dependencies is a very loose thing. In other words, there's quite often that you will see people just throw in another JavaScript library left and right and just added another dependency or rewrite entire systems from Angular to React or these things and so forth. And that's something that I think stands out for Java, where that's not really the case. Now let me explain. You see, Java has built a foundation of stability and reliability, simplicity and so forth. Java is the sort of thing that you pick it for these attributes or these properties. You don't pick it because it's innovative or it's fast moving or so forth. That's a political game. And this is what I wrote back to my viewer. I told him that if you are worried that you're going to see a massive influx in the way like feature releases and all that stuff, as that it's going to be on par with something as just like say JavaScript in Java, I don't think you have to worry all that much, because most of the industry it's still running on Java 1.7 or Java 1.8. And in my opinion, and this is me being a little bit, of course, this is nothing I can prove, but it's my gut feeling from watching how Oracle conduct business. My guess is that Java 9 is an act of desperation from a company who has realized that their target consumer or their target customer has changed, and they didn't even realize it. Maybe they're realizing it now. You see, Java is and has been the primary choice for enterprise level development. But the way that Oracle has conducted business and the way that the platform has been moving so far is very similar to the sort of way that you used to do things. You used to have the mindset that slow, steady, controlled development of the platform was the way to go. You as a business or as the owner of the platform wanted to be the sole contributor and the sole the development driver for that language. Look at C# and Microsoft and so forth. But today you have a little bit of an issue, because it used to be the case that you would approach adoption of your language from the business point. You would, in other words, go into the board meetings and boardrooms and pitch Java as a platform to a CTO or some type of manager type. But today the environment is very different, because today companies are allowing their developers, the people who actually write the software, to actually dictate their own stack in a much broader sense than they used to. And now all of a sudden the opinions and the public relation between, say, Oracle or Microsoft or Google and so forth is much more important to their business. their relationship with the developers who actually uses the tool is leaps and bounds more irrelevant. It's actually more important than anything else, and that's probably where if you think about it. Have you ever considered how much lobbying and money that goes in from these companies just to make you aware of their products, like software and development in their languages and so forth? I mean, Google has entire YouTube channels just dedicated to informing you about things that are going on in their ecosystem. That's something that Oracle is now realizing, it seems, and that's why Java modules and so forth are coming along, if you ask me. But does that mean that you have to keep up? Well, I will argue no. I will go as far as to, and I know this is a little bit bold, but I will go as far as to say that you can basically ignore this development. Not because it's not going to be around, but I think that you don't have to stress so much that they are going to just skyrocket in terms of adoption rate and just produce a lot of things, because if they do, I think, as I said, I think this is an act of desperation. Just as giving over ownership of Java EE to Eclipse is having that plan is an act of desperation. And it is an act of desperation because, as I said, Java built its legacy on stability, reliability, and simplicity. And they're now trying to start to catch up to the trends. And if they do that, I think that will be the kiss of death I think it will be a kiss of death rather than something that revitalizes, I got it, the language. Because if that ecosystem starts becoming this fast-paced environment where things break, because the thing is, guys, you cannot have super reliability and super simplicity and all that good stuff and stability and a fast-paced, moving, chaotic, changing ecosystem at the same time. Can't be done. They're opposites. So we will see. But what I want you to take away from this is that when it comes to Java, and not just Java, but when it comes to adoption rate, you have to ask the fundamental question: is the reality of the industry, in other words, what the industry is using, the same thing that the people on the internet are promoting? In JavaScript, it is true that almost every single thing that comes out, not all of it, but a lot of it, it's things that the industry will adopt, because the adoption rate in JavaScript is very, very high. It's not so high in C++ and C# and Java, for example. There's a lot more of a lag, if you will, on that sort of adoption, because the industry is made up of people, guys, and some people want to live in a chaotic working environment where like things are moving all the time and they need to keep things updated all the time, and some people don't want to focus on stability, reliability, and simplicity because it makes them happier or more productive, or at least keeps the code in a better shape than if they had a more chaotic working environment. So for you who may be worried that Java will start moving very, very quickly, I don't think you have to. I think that what you can do is to ignore what Oracle is trying to push here, because that's a political agenda for them rather than something that's going to be a hard requirement for you, and then have a look at what the industry is actually doing. And if we look at what the industry is doing, the industry is still statistically on Java 1.7 or Java 1.8, and I find it very hard to believe that they're going to make a complete 180 turn and start becoming this super trendy platform that you need to read up on every 6 months to just keep yourself relevant. Have a great day.